Hi, I'm Ruby. I was homeschooled and hardly went outside because my scar attracted too much attention. It was shaped like half a heart. I didn't remember getting it, so I asked my parents to tell me what happened. But they came up with a new story each time the topic came up. It was clear they were hiding something. There was a fire in the hospital the day you were born. It left you with a scar. Last time you said a dog bit me when I was a kid.
It all happened so long ago. It's no wonder we can't remember the details.
Anyway, talking to my parents didn't bring me any closer to the truth, so I gave up and moved on with my life. When I was still a kid, something weird happened. One day, I went to the cinema with my parents. Everyone stared at and took pictures of me like I was a celebrity. It's that girl! Although I didn't understand why my appearance caused such a stir, I didn't mind posing in front of the cameras. However, my parents didn't like that. They quickly dragged me out of there. After that, Mom and Dad did their best to make sure I appeared in public as little as possible. That's Woody, my older brother. Unlike me, he went to a public school and was allowed to go to parties with his friends like any ordinary high school student. I didn't envy him though, because by the time I turned 15, I'd long since grown used to being alone. Woody and I used to be close, but lately my older brother had grown distant. It was like a chasm had opened between us. Mom and Dad had forbade him from inviting friends over to our house, and Woody blamed me for it.
I just want to play video games with the guys in my room.
We don't want your friends to see Ruby's scar and laugh at her.
Ugh, Ruby. What about me? I live here too.
Oh, I wished Woody would realize it was our parents who made me hide. I didn't feel self-conscious about my scar at all. All I wanted was to find out how I got it. Press like and subscribe to the Private Diary channel. The investigation's about to begin. One night, I had trouble falling asleep, so I sat out in the swing in our garden and looked at the moon, lost in thought. It looked like a huge piece of cheese. But then, a suspicious noise startled me out of my thoughts. I saw a silhouette jump over our fence and tiptoe toward an open window. It was a guy a little older than me. I thought that Woody had probably secretly invited a friend over. My brother's window is on the other side of the house. Dang it, I thought no one was here. He looked at me with interest, and then his jaw suddenly dropped to the floor. I recognized that scar. Hey, I know who you are. It was my turn to be surprised. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but then the light came on in my parents' bedroom.
Ruby, who are you talking to?
While I was telling Dad that I was talking to myself, the mysterious stranger ran away, but I remembered what he looked like. It was hard not to. I decided to tell Woody that I'd seen his friend the next morning. Your friend came here last night. Don't worry, I won't snitch, but I want to talk to him about something he said.
What friend?
He had blue hair and eyebrow piercings. Looked like a troublemaker.
I don't know anyone like that. You must have dreamed it.
Soon, our parents left for work, and Woody went to school. Meanwhile, I stayed at home and waited for my tutor. I couldn't get the mysterious night visitor out of my head, though. I'm sure it wasn't a dream. I need to find him. I called my tutor, said I was sick, and I asked him not to come. As soon as I hung up, I headed to my brother's school. I hid in the bushes and tried to find that guy among the students. But none of Woody's friends had blue hair. If Woody sees me, I'm done for. As luck would have it, the next moment, I sneezed. Loudly. Freaking allergies.
I'll be right back. Ruby?
Long time no see, bro.
Mom and Dad didn't let you leave the house.
I wouldn't be here if you would just tell me who the blue-haired guy with the eyebrow piercing is.
I told you, I don't know anyone like that. Cover your scar and go home, or we'll both be in a world of trouble.
Okay. You're such a pain in my butt. I headed back home, but some guy caught up to me.
I know where to find Adrian.
Who?
The guy with the blue hair.
Really? Where?
Information costs money.
I reached into my pocket and I handed him $2. Satisfied, he gave me Adrian's address.
It's a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, by the way, I should warn you, gorgeous. Adrian has a terrible reputation.
That didn't scare me. For the first time in my life, I had the chance to find out the truth about my scar. Nothing could stop me now. I arrived at the address I'd been given, and I saw a shabby piercing salon. Undeterred, I walked inside and was greeted by the salon's gloomy owner. Apparently, he not only worked in the salon, but also lived there.
You're too young to be here.
I didn't come here for a piercing. I'm looking for Adrian. Do you know him?
I do. Adrian's my foolish son. He's not at home right now.
Where is he?
I'd like to know that too. That brat sometimes runs away and lives somewhere else for weeks.
Could...
His phone is off too. Get lost, girl.
I didn't want to leave empty-handed, so I came up with a new plan. The gears in my head were spinning at breakneck speed as I looked around the dirty room. It seems like you could use some help around here. Hire me. I'll clean up while I wait for Adrian to come back.
Are you a moron? I told you, you're too young to be here.
All right. Sourpuss. I wrote down my number on a napkin and handed it to the salon owner. My name is Ruby. Call me if you change your mind. I came home and saw a police car near our neighbor's house. How curious. Someone broke into my house through the window, stole all the food from the refrigerator, and also took a few dollars.
Thefts have become more frequent in your neighborhood lately. We'll get to the bottom of it, ma'am.
That got me thinking, could Adrian have done it? What if he had come to rob us, but I had scared him off? That meant Woody had told me the truth. He didn't know Adrian. After Mom and Dad had left for work the next day, Woody came up to me.
If anyone sees you in town, Mom and Dad will hear about it. Don't leave the house if you don't want to get in trouble, idiot.
With those words, he left for school, and I was on my own again. Soon enough, I got a call from an unfamiliar number.
This is Mr. Moss. You came to my piercing salon yesterday?
I recognized you by your voice.
I'm swamped and Adrian isn't here to help. I've given it some thought and decided to let you work for me.
Oh, I knew you'd change your mind. I'll be there soon. I called my tutor and told him I was still sick. Then I put on a hood so I wouldn't attract attention and headed to the salon. In between cleaning, I watched Mr. Moss at work. He was a rude and terse man, but he was good at what he did. To my surprise, people didn't just come to the salon for piercings. Some poor people turned to Mr. Moss for medical help. He fixed dislocated shoulders, examined bruises, and he didn't take any money for it. He helped those who couldn't afford health insurance for free.
Your hand's as good as new.
Thanks, Doc. Did he just call you Doc?
I used to work in a hospital.
Why'd you stop?
It's a long and sad story. I don't want to talk about it.
I realized that he was a deeply kind man. It made me wonder what happened that made him so gloomy and miserable. A few days passed. I snuck out of home to work at the salon and waited for Adrian to show up. And then, one day, something happened that turned my world upside down.
Ruby, it's late. Go home.
As soon as I dust this shelf, Doc.
Don't call me that.
Then, a man in an expensive suit walked into the salon and looked around with a wry smile.
Hey, can I help you?
So this is the illegal clinic for the poor I've been hearing about.
Now hold on a second. I know you. You're that sleazy journalist that became famous for his scandalous investigations. There is no clinic here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
The man ignored Mr. Moss and looked at me.
Tell me, girl, is this bore lying?
You heard the man. It's just a piercing salon. I lied to him because I respected what Mr. Moss was doing, and I didn't want him to get in trouble.
I see. You're covering for him.
He prepared to leave, but then I choked on dust and sneezed. My hood fell off my head, and Mr. Moss's eyes bugged out as he stared at my scar.
Could it be? Get out of here, Ruby.
What?
I better not see you here again. Your family's already brought me too much grief.
He didn't explain anything, and then he just kicked me out. The journalist followed me outside and stared at my face with delight.
Well. Now this is way more interesting than a free clinic.
What?
Let me give you a ride home.
I glanced at my watch and realized I was running late. Mom and Dad were about to come home from work. I knew I wouldn't make it on foot in time, so I agreed to his offer. When we stopped by my house, he smiled like a hungry predator.
So your family lives here?
Yeah?
Why? Oh, it's nothing. Have a nice evening.
What a weirdo. It was a wild day. Before going to bed, I talked to my brother. Woody, do you know a Mr. Moss? He seemed to know our family and he recognized me by my scar. Mom and Dad won't tell me the truth anyway.
Did you go outside again?
Just answer the question. What are Mom and Dad hiding from me?
I gave them my word I'd keep quiet. It's for your own good, idiot.
Okay, if you don't want to help me, at least don't get in my way. He didn't tell me anything. However, to my surprise, he came up to me the next morning. He looked very nervous and kept biting on his lips.
I know you won't stop looking for answers, Ruby, but think about it. Do you really want to know the truth? It could destroy you.
I need to know, Woody. To move forward, I need to find out why strange things have been happening to me. Woody sighed heavily and handed me a yellowed newspaper.
Read it after Mom and Dad leave for work. And don't tell them I gave you the newspaper or...
I know. You'll bite my head off. Thanks, buddy. I'm glad we're on the same side. Soon, everyone left the house, and I sat on the swing to read the newspaper. But then I got a call from Mr. Moss.
That sleazy journalist is on the news.
Cool. So what?
He's on his way to your house with a bunch of reporters. Get out of there.
What? Before I could ask why reporters were interested in me at all, I realized they had already surrounded our house and were pointing cameras at it. Dang it! My parents would end me for attracting so much attention. I decided to hide in Mr. Moss's salon and ran outside, but the journalist I'd met the day before caught sight of me and gave chase.
Ruby, wait! We want to interview you.
Have you all lost it? Leave me alone! I snuck into an abandoned gas station to hide from those zombies with cameras. Imagine my surprise when I realized someone was living there. There was an old mattress in the corner as well as magazines and empty chip bags lying around.
Hey, what do you want? It's you again.
Adrian? Please keep it down. I'm hiding from reporters. I don't get it. Why does everyone who sees my scar lose it? It makes no sense.
Those vultures aren't gonna leave you alone.
Exhausted, I flopped down on the mattress and asked Adrian why he'd run away from his father.
How do you know about that?
He told me himself. I've been working at a salon for the past few days. Mr. Moss is a good man, but he seems so sad. He fired me the second he saw my scar. You know something about it, don't you?
Didn't your parents tell you anything? Okay, here's the thing. Years ago, my dad used to be the best surgeon in town. One day, he did a complicated surgery to separate Siamese twins with conjoined heads. It didn't go well. One of the girls died, but you managed to survive.
What? My breath caught in my throat and I was left speechless. It was like I was stuck in a living nightmare. Meanwhile, Adrian continued.
Everyone thought it was a miracle you survived, but not your parents. They blamed Dad for failing to keep both of you alive. So they sued him until he'd lost all his money. Dad lost his doctor's license after that scandal. He had to become a piercing master to earn a living. After that, he sold our house and we moved into the shabby salon. Mom left us, Dad got depressed, and I fell in with bad company. You know I'm not an angel. I've been running away from home, stealing. Because of your family, our life went downhill.
No, you're lying!
Don't believe me? That's funny. You're holding the proof in your hands.
Now that I thought about it, I realized I'd been running around with an old newspaper clutched in my hands. I frantically unfolded it and saw an article about a brilliant doctor doing a complex surgery to separate Siamese twins on the front page. According to the article, one of the twins survived and fully recovered. I was the lucky one. I can't believe it. I no longer doubted Adrian's words. Now, all I wanted was to ask my parents what they'd been thinking. Why did you never tell me I had a twin sister? Why did you make me hide from everyone?
Ruby, who told you about that?
What does it matter? Tell me the truth for once in your life.
Honey, it's complicated. After that surgery, the whole city wanted to know what happened to you. Everyone became obsessed with you, but we didn't want to let you know what happened to your sister or grow up in front of the cameras. That's why we didn't let you out of the house. We just wanted our family to have some peace and quiet.
You do know that you ruined the life of another family, right? I'm alive and well thanks to Dr. Moss, but you dragged his reputation through the mud. I hung up and resolutely clenched my fists.
Where are you going?
To talk to the reporters. Now I know why they've been following me.
Ruby, why have you been hiding all these years?
What can you tell us about your life now? Let me get a word in. First things first, I am the girl who was successfully separated from her Siamese twin sister 15 years ago.
I owe my life to Dr. Moss. I know you're watching this and can hear me. Thank you for everything.
You're probably wondering what happened next. It took a while, but eventually things calmed down. Mom and Dad admitted they were in the wrong and withdrew the lawsuit against Mr. Moss. He's trying to fix his life and get his doctor's license back. It's not gonna be easy, though. Adrian turned himself into the police and even did a few weeks of community service. But then he ran away again. It's a shame he didn't clean up his act. I mean, he's not a bad guy. I'm going to school with Woody now. You would have liked our big brother, little sis. I might not be able to help everyone whose lives were ruined that day, but I promise to live a happy life for both of us. This scar? No. This half of a heart will always remind me of you.